Pray for the rain, pray for the rain across the land. Pray for the power to come to the poor. Pray for the hungry who knock on your door. Pray for the courage to open your hand. And pray for the rain, pray for the rain upon the land. Pray for the healing that cannot be sold. Pray for the riches that banks cannot hold. Pray for the courage to take a new stand. And pray for the rain, pray for the rain upon the land. And pray for the rain, pray for the rain upon the land.
Good to see you this morning. We put some of the hair from our child's haircut outside for the birds. And several mornings now we have watched birds grabbing beakfuls of hair and flying off into the neighbors' trees to build their nests. Such sweet cooperation between humans and birds. The world seems benign and life-giving. A couple of weeks ago, it was the 50th anniversary of Earth Day, a day to answer the call to care for this earth. So this morning, we are folding together Earth Day with the celebration of May Day, this ancient celebration of the green, growing, generous earth, of which we are so very much a part, even when we are forgetful of that. We are indeed the earth, woven into the fabric of life, hair and twig and feather together. I invite you to join in lighting our chalices together. Find your chalice or make a cairn for yourself, a little sacred object that helps you remember your center and your connections. I invite you to speak the words of our covenant. They are in the chat, or you may have them on your heart. Love is the doctrine of this church. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge in freedom, to serve humanity in fellowship. Thus do we covenant. And then I invite you to join in singing our opening hymn. Mary will lead us in all creatures of the earth and sky.
I would like to put the text up there in the chat. There are quite a few words. This is a hymn that we don't often sing in church, although we could. So I would like to just put those words up there for you so that you're able to follow along. A familiar hymn tune to many, for sure, but arranged a little bit differently for us, all creatures of the earth and sky. Let's see if we can get those right into the chat here. There they are. I think it worked. All creatures of the earth and sky, come, kindred, lift your voices high. Alleluia, alleluia. Bright burning sun with golden beam, so alleluia, alleluia, alleluia. Embracing earth you day by day, bring forth your blessings on our way. Alleluia, alleluia. All herbs and fruits that richly grow, let them the glory also show. Alleluia, 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 alleluia. All you of understanding heart, forgiving others, take your part. Alleluia, alleluia. Let all things now the Holy bless, and worship God in humbleness. Alleluia, 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 alleluia.
This morning, we are welcoming into the song of this community a few new members. This is another thing that we have never done on Zoom before, so we'll be learning together how to do this. I will talk for just a minute about what membership means, and then I'll invite the folks who are joining this morning to unmute themselves and just introduce themselves briefly so that you can pick their faces out in the crowd here. And then I will ask you, the congregation, to say a few words to them, and we'll stay muted for it, except for right at the very end. We'll take just one moment and unmute everyone all together, and I'll invite you all to say welcome at the same time, and we can give a big welcome and also experience what that all the voices together sounds like. Membership in a church has all of the pleasures and accountability of any tie of kinship. We agree to see each other through the difficult days and the easy days, to talk when we misunderstand or disagree, to thank each other and to share our disappointments. It is through all these passages that we grow into an ever richer community. Membership means taking up the care of the community, tending connections, contributing time and skill and money, and making decisions together. Membership means knowing that this is your place and these are your people, and that we will work together and play together and navigate the losses and sweetness of life together. Membership means staying committed to the life that is greater than our individual needs. Belonging to this society means deepening your commitment to live Unitarian Universalist values out loud in the world, seeking justice locally and globally. Claiming this congregation and this tradition means claiming the truth that there is a story and a love that is bigger than any of us, that holds us and carries us along. This is the part where I will say a line, and I invite you, the people who are here today, to say these words out loud in your space. And although we won't get to hear your voice, we'll get to see your faces and know that we are weaving this together. We welcome you.
We welcome you.
As members of this spiritual community. We will share our warm hearts, our curiosity and our persistence. Together we seek to build an inclusive community where we can ground ourselves spiritually, pursue justice in the larger society, and work to heal the natural world. Welcome to those of you who are joining today, and really to everyone who is participating in our congregational life in a new way. Welcome to this deeper commitment of membership and community. I look forward to working with you, to finding the meanings for our lives and to carry our hopes into the future. Welcome to this community of love and expanding understanding. I ask our new members a few questions, and right at the end of that, no, I just changed my mind. I'll invite Susan and Joni. Can you unmute yourselves, or maybe Alex can?
I did.
Will you introduce yourselves before I ask you these questions? Susan, will you start?
Well, okay, yes. I'm using my husband's computer, so it says Michael Moniz or Moniz, but I'm Susan Moniz. I live in Greenland. I'm happy to be here.
Welcome. Joni?
I'm Joni Pratt, and I live in Exeter, and I'm very happy to join this community that I feel I already joined, but now I am joining.
Welcome. And I'll ask the two of you a few questions all together, and then at the very end, if you can say, I will. Do you agree to enter into the community with open heart and mind, with earnest intention to uphold your own search while contributing to the health of the community? Will you seek deeper connections, deeper understanding with this congregation and beyond? And will you seek ways to live your deepest commitments out loud in this world?
I will.
I will.
Wonderful. I am so glad that you are here. And now, members of the congregation, you have your moment here. Alex will unmute all of us. And then for just a moment, I invite you to say welcome, and we'll hear the harmony of all of us speaking together.
Welcome.
Welcome, Sue and Joni.
Welcome, Coleman.
Welcome, Sue and Joni.
Welcome, Susan.
Welcome.
Welcome, Sue. Welcome, Joni.
Thank you.
Sweet to hear your voices and see all your welcome, and we will send you in the mail a little welcome certificate, and we will figure out how to have your name officially emblazoned in the membership book in these days of social distancing. Welcome to the story of this congregation, and we now have a story from Mary Doane.
I'm hoping that there are some children, and also that you have your view on gallery view, so that you'll be able to see both me and you'll see Sue Moniz, because she is going to do some music playing. And if you have if you're set for speaker view, you only see the music part. So, all right, Sue's going to get us started. Once it did not rain for a whole year. The soil became dry, dry, dry. The grass was brown and withered, and trees and bushes lost their leaves. There were no flowers anywhere to be found. At the bottom of the canyon, where a lively stream usually flowed freely, there were only a few puddles left. And every day, those puddles got smaller and smaller and smaller. Living at the edge of those puddles was Turtle. He watched as his puddle got smaller and smaller and smaller with each passing day. And he knew that if it didn't rain soon, the puddle would dry up completely and he would have no food to eat. But Turtle knew how to sing a rain song, and so he sang his song. Rain, 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 rain upon the land. Rain, 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 rain upon the land. Rain, rain. He sang to see if he could bring some rain. His song was lovely and thoughtful, but there was a problem. His song wasn't loud enough to reach the top of the mountain. And that is where the goddess of the rain lived. And so the rain goddess did not hear Turtle singing, and no rain came. Not far from Turtle's puddle, there was a tall oak tree, and living in that tree was Squirrel. Squirrel was worried about this dry earth. Squirrel was worried that there were no leaves or flowers, and she only had one acorn left. Squirrel knew that if it did not rain, she would not have enough to eat. And Squirrel knew how to sing a rain song. So she sat on a high branch in her tall oak tree, and she sang her song. Rain, 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 upon the land. Rain, 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 upon the land. Rain, rain. She sang to see if she could bring some rain. Her song was sweet and tuneful, but there was a problem. Her song wasn't loud enough either. It did not reach the top of the mountain, and that is where the goddess of the rain lived. And when Squirrel saw that there were no clouds in the sky and it wasn't going to rain, she began to cry. Oh, she cried. Oh, oh. What's that sound? Said Turtle. It sounds like someone is crying. Turtle walked slowly over to where he heard the sound coming from. He looked and he noticed that Squirrel was crying. What's the matter, Squirrel? If it doesn't rain soon, there isn't going to be anything for any of us to eat. And they both started to cry. Oh, oh. But Squirrel had an idea. When one squirrel works all alone, nothing ever gets done. Well, not much anyway. And Turtle said, when one turtle works all alone, nothing much ever gets done. Maybe if we work together, we should sing together. And that is just what they did. They began to sing together. Rain, 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 upon the land. Rain, rain. It still wasn't loud enough to go to the top of the mountain, but it was loud enough to go to the next puddle up the canyon. The song they were singing was loud enough to reach all kinds of other animals. Not just squirrels and not just turtles, but also coyotes and frogs, wild horses and bald eagles. They all began to sing, rain, 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 upon the land. Rain, rain. And it was a loud song. It was so loud that the rain goddess heard their song. Oh, they sang loudly, and she climbed to the center of the sky and gathered dark clouds all around her. From the distant mountains, she made the cool wind begin to blow. Raindrops started, first one, and then two, and then too many to count. The rain fell faster and faster as the animals sang together. The canyon stream filled back up with water. The soil was drenched and new life emerged. The trees and the bushes grew new leaves and more flowers than you could ever imagine began to bloom. The whole land came back to life again, and it was all because Squirrel and Turtle worked together. Hooray!
Thank you for the tale of working together. And that's sort of the tale that I have to tell you about the offering this morning. You probably saw in our electronic newsletter that 2 weeks ago when we did our Give It Away offering for Seacoast Family Promise, you all contributed over $3,500 for Seacoast Family Promise, which is a lot. And it's a lot more than we collected for our typical Give It Away offering Sundays, which were always generous. And so I am so grateful for the ways that you put your songs together, put your hopes for well-being in the world together to make a bigger song and to help more people. You may also wish during this time to pull out your offering basket and keep with a practice of putting a little something in a bowl or a basket to help this community maintain its abundance and that opening of the heart that happens when we give in any way. And we are brewing creative, community-sustaining things to do with this money that we're all collecting in our own spaces. May you feel like the world is very abundant today. In honor of Earth Day and May Day, Sylvia Foster, who has led our green team for a long time, the two of us are each sharing a reflection this morning. We get to hear from Sylvia first.
Where we live, whatever the sun's altitude, spring has not yet begun until the ice has melted, and then life stirs. Our fellow creatures fascinate me with their precise calculations about when they will show up. One of my favorite kinfolks takes into consideration the maximum temperature reached in daytime and the minimum it falls in the night. So these little guys tune in to the spread of temperatures. And when they're satisfied that their moment has arrived, just warm enough and just long enough and not too much cold in between, they come with their gift. Little bubbles in their throats inflate and they sing out clear notes heard for half a mile. They, my friends, are beings older than any Christian God. And they are the sound of spring. From out of the depths of winter comes the peeper, a pure voice of life. I've started thinking about spring as a time to celebrate surprises and to honor the imagination. I like to pair Easter's celebration of rising into the light with Earth Day's holding us in the light of opportunity. I loved that Reverend Mary's Mr. Frog came by church a while back before his big move out of Mary's house so that he could be his real frog self. After she rescued him from harm, he wanted to get back to his way of life on this beautiful blue-green planet. I don't know about you, but I can go for a long time without being fully aware of what things really mean to me. I have to say, too much of the life I've lived has been like being fixed in the winter of the imagination. And now I'm learning about so many American lives being devastated by the virus. And what I'm feeling is that we do not want to repeat this kind of devastation in climate chaos. And my heart is going to another place. This virus is teaching that what we said was not possible before is happening now in the stimulus package. The Reverend William Barber said, "The virus is giving us the opportunity to stitch a new garment, an opportunity that fits all of humanity and nature. To see with new eyes that our problems are shared, we are one, and we absolutely can create guaranteed health care for all." This is an issue of the heart, and we see other issues now for what they are, matters of life and death. We can see that it's possible to make different choices. So, those false divides before the outbreak may be turned around as paths toward healing. What many lawmakers had told us was impossible now resurfaces as lessons learned. We need to solve the climate crisis by feeling our vulnerability together. The loss of life to the virus tells us that if we don't act quickly, we will lose more. The unfortunate way that the government responded to the virus has given us our call to action, to find ways to prevent more loss of life through climate chaos. We already know the current state of things. The pictures come to mind of the floods, the fire, the loss of farmland and crops, the loss of shoreline, homes, jobs, all preventable if we be like the Peepers, if we tune in to what is happening around us. COVID stirs our empathy, and we are being prepared to forge a new and compassionate normal for our people and for the earth. As UUs, we're guided by our faith and not our fear. When we feel our spirit align with what we want for the future, we won't be afraid to give up business as usual. It's already disrupted now, and we can look forward to a new world in which we meet our emotional needs and measure our progress, not through how much stuff the world produces, but through how well we promote quality of life for the family of all on earth. So how might we participate in the dream of the earth? What does nature want of us? What wants to be born here? And what ways will each of us as individuals give our gifts in helping in the regeneration? Behind the factory-like noise of our minds, something is singing. The skies are clearing. The hole in the ozone layer has healed to the smallest it's been in 40 years. We're hearing that college students are shopping for elders, and 6-year-olds gifting their tooth fairy money to feed the homeless. We may not be able to physically touch across an empty street or a town square, but our hearts are reaching people. We're being shown how big a change we can make through the simplest gestures. We're being shown that we have the power and the tools that we may not have known we had just a few months ago. And what if when we stepped back out into our workaday lives, we carried a page from that spring Peeper Bible, the one that says, when the air we breathe tells us it's time, we show up, rooted in our intention and our love of the earth, ready to build the more beautiful world we know is possible.
I invite you into that spring peeper way of being, which is to sing the song of life that is in you, whatever that song is. We know spring peepers live in that zone where it's a little cold and it gets warm. So if you have something happening in your life that is cold, that's hard, that's a sorrow, write it in the chat so that we can see what you are living through. And if there is a joy of spring singing in your heart, write that in the chat too. We want all of it together, this great song of life. Mary is playing for us while we write joys and sorrows in the chat, but Mary is still muted, and I don't know if she can hear me telling her that she is muted.
Got it. Pray for the sunlight. Pray for the spring. Pray for the rising of all living things. Pray for the courage to grow where you can. Pray for the rain. Pray for the rain across the land. Pray for the healing that cannot be sold. Pray for the riches that banks cannot hold. Pray for the courage to take a new stand. And pray for the rain. Pray for the rain on the land. Pray for the rain. Pray for the rain across the land.
We'll take just another moment if there's a last joy or sorrow you'd like to add to the chat. If you want to print this chat so that you can read through all these joys and sorrows later, in the bottom right-hand corner, there are 3 little dots, and if you tap on them, it lets you tap on Save Chat. And in all of this technology, I invite you to settle in for a few moments of meditation, a time to be still and breathe and be in good company. And as you settle in, I want to read you a few of Brene Brown's words. I mentioned these last week, but they're worth reading every day these days. Love is the last thing we need to ration right now. Comparative suffering is dangerous. Empathy is not finite. When we practice empathy, we create more empathy. The exhausted ER doctor doesn't benefit more if you reserve your empathy only for her and ignore your feelings or withhold empathy from someone who's lower on the suffering scale. Hurt is hurt. And every time we honor our own struggle and the struggles of others by responding with empathy, the healing that results affects all of us. May this time of quiet deepen that reserve of empathy.
Let joy fill your heart, may peace be your goal. May joy, peace, and love make us whole. Let joy fill your heart, may peace be your goal. Let joy, peace, and love make us whole.
In the fall, I started taking direct action on issues of climate change, which is to say, I got myself arrested trying to stop the burning of coal. I think back on it now. There was a moment when I was handcuffed and crammed into the back of a small, hot paddy wagon with several other people, barely 6 inches apart. And we sang the whole way to the jail in a small space. We were so free. The whole lot of us were ready to risk our physical safety for that more beautiful world that we know is possible. Things always look so different when we look back on them across time. What does physical risk and safety mean? What does freedom look like? Now we're on lockdown for physical safety. for everyone. And we're trying to find our way in this new version of things. And I am thinking a lot about how do I engage this work on behalf of the earth while also protecting my vulnerable human friends, which it turns out is all of us. Now we can't be elbow to elbow or sing in tight spaces. Activists of all sorts are putting their heads together to get creative about how we take action and speak up and take care of this present moment. I have seen such an array of creative options popping up. Lots of things online, live streamed rallies. I've seen car protests now. Last weekend, people drove up to the Stratford County Jail asking that the ICE detainees be released for their health and safety. But everyone stayed in their vehicle for health and safety. There was an essential worker strike on May Day, and I'm hearing plans for Zoom dance flash mobs to celebrate and engage people in all of the issues we're trying to make change on these days. I think I'm getting to a new phase of this pandemic now in which I'm able to begin to think about what are the things that we'll still need to attend to in this new way of living. For a while, I was just in suspension, and now I'm beginning to think, all right, well, there are things that I still want to do that still need our attention. How do I do that in this way of living? And it's a question. We are all so very much living into the questions these days. And it's true that this pandemic is a time to notice what's possible, how we are able to make big changes, to take care of things that we thought were too hard to do before. How can we live into that possibility for all sorts of things so that life can go better? I'm holding Brene Brown's wisdom in my mind with every step. Empathy has no limits. Everyone is grappling with that these days. And everyone is in their own phase of living in this pandemic. And I am starting to think about how I can act on my commitments to the earth in this time when there is so much empathy needed for the immediate concerns of our humans. How do we engage in fresh and creative ways? I am looking for everyone's resourcefulness and creativity in how we can, in these most challenging times, live into our wild, unrestrained love for the earth, starting, of course, with you. Mary, do you have a blessing to share with us for this wild earth and all these people?
I do. This is called the Beatitudes for Earth Sunday, performed by our choir, who are learning new ways to be together, as well as to make joyful noise together. Sue, will you lead us off?
The Beatitudes for Earth Sunday, adapted from the words of Reverend Richard S. Gilbert.
Blessed is the earth, our beloved home, for she is a planet of beauty and abundance.
Blessed are the waters, for they give rise to living things.
Blessed are the waters, for they give rise to living things.
Blessed is the land, for it is the source of life abundant.
Blessed is the air we breathe, for it fires us to life and love.
And the beasts of the field, for they are glorious to behold.
And the birds of the air, with their graceful arcs in the sky, their prayers, their benedictions.
And the mountains, seas, and valleys for their rich habitats.
And to the fields of grain and orchards of fruit, which give sustenance.
Blessed are they who protect the earth and all her creatures, for they shall be in harmony with the web of existence.
Rejoice.
Rejoice and be glad, for this life we have been given.
We have been given.
Rejoice
for this life.
Rejoice and be
Rejoice
glad for
and
this
be
life
glad for this life we have been given.
Rejoice and be glad.
Rejoice and be glad for this life we have been given.
Blessed
is
earth,
our
beloved
home.
Blessed
is this
earth,
our beloved home.
All those voices singing for the reign of love on our planet. Please join in the song with This Pretty Planet. I think we can get the words into the chat, but you may well know this sweet song already.
This pretty planet, spinning through space. You're a garden, you're a harbor, you're a holy place. Golden sun going down, gentle blue giant, spin us around all through the night. Safe till the morning light.
Before we go off to our virtual coffee hour together, I invite you to speak the words of our benediction. I think we can get those words into the chat as well, in case you don't quite know them by heart yet. And I invite you, if you would like to put your hands up and maybe have that sense of making contact across the miles, across all of the senses of distance. Know that we're together. Go in peace. Speak truth. Give thanks each day. Respect the earth and all creatures, for they are alive like you. Care for your body. It is a wondrous gift. Be gentle with yourself. Live simply. Be of service. Be guided by your faith and not your fear. Go lightly on your way. Walk in a sacred manner.